The big news of the week was this partnership between Ava Labs and Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services requires no introduction. You know what it is. And what they decided to do was to come to us, and they said, we would love to partner with you to scale blockchain solutions for anybody who might want to deploy a blockchain solution. And they said, look, you guys have the kind of technology that we understand and the kind of technology that we think is going to create a large market, and we would like to be partnered with you. There have been other AWS partnerships. There have been other chains that went out, and they did this. It's like a trick. You can do this at any time. Some chain, some project goes out and then pays someone, and then somebody or whoever it might be to use their system, and then says these people are partnered with us. Well, really, you are a client of them. And really what happened in those cases was those chains paid somebody for the announcement. Those weren't organic. They weren't the kind of the grassroots thing that we all strive for that really indicate that there is technology strength underneath. So this is different from these grandfathers' AWS announcements. This was a case of AWS coming to Ava Labs and saying, we would like to partner with you as you guys launch these subnets. We would like to be one of the hosting providers. This is coming on the heels of the Alibaba announcement. The Alibaba announcement was just as big, okay? Just as big, and there was no reaction. Somehow the space failed to notice it. Maybe we are to blame for not building it as highly as we could, or what have you, or maybe not getting the word out. But whatever happened there, for reasons I don't understand and for reasons I can never guess the market, the market did not react to those news, even though that was a huge deal as well. And now you have at least 2 big cloud providers, and many more actually, highly interested in supporting subnets to come. So this is really, really important. And AWS is one of the most technically savvy groups out there. So you know this because of the technology they've built over the years. You know this because of the technology that we know is powering most of the internet services we run. So with subnets serving as app chains, with subnets serving as the infrastructure for specific blockchain solutions, there will necessarily be a marketplace for validators. We talked about this before. I think if you go back 4 or 5 episodes of All Access, maybe slightly more, you'll hear me talking about these striated services for validation. Validators today are fairly homogeneous. They all provide the same kind of service. There will be a day, not too distant from now, when different kinds of nodes are required for different kinds of validation. And we're moving towards that. Internally, we have a lot of discussion about the validator marketplace, and at the root of it all lies a node with a particular network vantage point, with a particular network presence, with a particular network location. And you got to have enough of these for your system to be decentralized. So what Amazon is saying here is, for anybody who wants to launch their chain, we are super happy to provide the infrastructure for those validation services. And they are second in line, it turns out, after Alibaba, which is, again, a huge cloud provider. And there are others also in the pipeline of interested parties here who want to support validation on these subnets. So the subnet vision is here. It works, and people who are tech savvy, people who are interested in the here and now, and people who are not selling you dreams that are going to come and happen when a whole lot of things are resolved in umpteen years to come. So techies who know how to build things right now, they know where the action is, and they're coming to us to partake in that universe that we've created. So I'm super, super excited about this. One of the things that's happening here is they already have this Activate project where they would provide credits to people who are doing worthy startups that needed AWS time. So now they're combining that with this investment and partnership, such that people who are launching subnets get a whole bunch of AWS hours for their validators so that they can participate in the network. At this point, let me also address one issue that came up in the comments. It comes up in the comments. This does not mean that all of the nodes of a subnet are going to be hosted on AWS. That need not happen. It can if you want to. If you want that to happen, maybe perhaps you're a government entity and you want to have a whole bunch of nodes. You want to have a very resilient infrastructure, but they all have to be on a government-vetted platform. AWS has that platform, and so you can do that if you wanted to. But this doesn't mean that subnets will all be hosted on AWS. To the contrary, these guys are one out of two major ones that have been publicly announced so far, and there are many others that haven't been publicly announced but are actually operationally supporting Avalanche services behind the scenes. So there are many hosting providers, there are many node providers. You could use any one of them. So in fact, if we look, a bunch of the nodes, a bunch of the validators for the Avalanche C chain are on AWS, but the percent that's on AWS is, I think it's something like 12% or something. And given how widespread and around the globe AWS is, how many nodes they have in how many different availability zones, how decoupled those failures are from each other, that's actually a pretty good number. Ethereum 2 has about 30+% on AWS of their validators. So we're far more decentralized than any other network out there. And in the same sense, if you are building a subnet for your own purposes and you do want it to be decentralized, well, now you have AWS at your disposal and you can use it to your heart's content. You can use it none at all, or you can use it to take advantage of I think they have 4,000 data centers, 400 different, 480 or so availability zones, if I'm not mistaken. I'm rattling these numbers off the top of my head. So if you want to use any of those, now it's accessible to you. And in addition, you can use Alibaba. In addition, you can use any other service. And for the C chain, a lot of people are dialing in from home, using their own computers. So whatever makes sense for you, we provide to you the most flexible infrastructure for blockchain solutions.